Hello there, and welcome back, you guys. Today we're going to take a look at a mock series that I'm going to be planning to make, where I'm going to be building a bunch of unique New Mombasa themed buildings that are going to be made in the style of the Lego Modular City. Now, if that mock series sounds interesting to you because you're a Halo fan, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. The first building that we're going to be taking a look at is the building in front of us here. This is the UNSC Recruiting Office. To give some context for this build, this is obviously UNSC Recruiting Office, Recruiting Station, however you want to look at it. This is where you would go if you wanted to enlist in the UNSC Marines, the Navy, the Army, or any of the other branches of the UNSC to fight the Covenant. Those of you that have watched a few of my videos, you probably have seen this floating around in the background of a couple of them. I have used it before, but I have never done any kind of like breakdowns on it before. And I've had a couple of people leave comments asking to find out what I used to build this with. So I figured we'd take a look at it. This build's gone through a couple of design iterations, so you may have seen some pictures floating around. And some of the pictures I might be splicing in, those are going to be of the older builds. Actually, I'll throw up a picture here of the original build for the mock. The first iteration of the building was just kind of a freestanding building that I made. There was no sidewalk, no street, or anything like that. It was just a straight building. Now, I don't know exactly where every single individual brick came from for this build, but I'll try to do my best to kind of give you a frame of reference of what sets were used. Starting with the road, these plates and then these tiles here with the red stripe, those all came from the Fallout Red Rocket truck stop. And this grate here, I don't know exactly where it came from, but that's a pretty generic piece. The majority of the pieces in this planter box, those all came from the Red Rocket truck stop as well. The only one that didn't is going to be the taller piece kind of behind my finger here. That came in the Last Man Standing helmet set. This orange ladder, I'm using it as a safety rail. This also came from one of the helmet sets. This kind of column back here with this security camera, pretty much all these pieces also came from the Last Man Standing helmet set. And then the main focus of this build, the UNSC Recruiting Center part, this came from the original ODST ambush set from, I want to say, 2010 or 2011. And this column here is relatively fragile, but it goes to kind of break up this flat face of the building here. The security camera was pieced together from pieces from Last Man Standing as well. This UNSC logo, I'm not 100% sure where this came from. I just had this printed piece laying around. And then as for the rest of these parts, the O2, all these pieces for the roof, I think, pretty much all of these came from the Floodgate Firefight set. In this door here, this was also from the Floodgate Firefight. And then behind the door, there's kind of a black wall, but on the wall, I'll try to see if I can show you it, but there's actually a UNSC flag that came in the UNSC combat unit. That was a set that had the 2 Marines and an orange Spartan. Going back to this orange safety rail here, I do have this same piece in gray. I'll throw that on here real quick. Let me know which one you guys prefer. Do you prefer the orange or do you prefer the gray for the safety rail? I personally like the look of the orange one more, just because it kind of breaks up the build and adds a pop of color, because the gray just kind of blends together with the building. Just go ahead and drop that down in the comments below, which one you prefer. And while you're down in the comments, if you've got any other recommendations for changes to make, feel free to leave them. Turning the mock over to the side here, you can kind of see what I was saying about the Lego modular system being the inspiration. This is kind of the same system that Lego uses. I have 2 of the Lego modular buildings. I've got the police station, and then I've also got the bookstore. And turning the building around to the back side here, you can kind of see this is not like a fully enclosed building. I did just do like kind of a more of a facade. I don't necessarily plan to look at the back of the building that often, so it's fine for me. The back side is just kind of made up of random bricks that I've got, a bunch of these girder pieces. I think there's 6 of them in here. Plus there's that brown tall wooden beam and then that black panel down there as well. And then it wouldn't be a modular city if we didn't have other buildings to add on to it. So this is another building I put together. This is using pretty much exclusively parts from the Pokemon Pokédex, except for a couple of pieces. And then the building on the right here, this is made from pieces from the Red Rocket truck stop. These other 2 builds, they're not as polished as I want them to be. I'm still going to be making some changes to them, but they all do kind of pop together, and you can have them in whatever orientation you want. putting all three buildings together, you can get an idea of what I'm planning to do here with the modular city. I do have other buildings planned. I have other sets that I'm going to be kind of converting from their original build into modular buildings like these. And I'm always open to suggestions. If you've got something you'd like to suggest for a building or building idea, please feel free to do so in the comment section down below. Take a closer look at the Pokédex building. This is modeled after like a gaming store or a GameStop. You can see we're still using the same system for the road and the tiles. This jump here just because I ran out of those tiles. And then we've got the sidewalk. As for the door here, this is fully brick built, and I'm actually kind of proud of this. I just kind of came up with this design on my own. I'm not sure where those handles came from, but they work great as handles. And then as for the actual building, the rest of this is pretty much all Pokédex. These dark red pieces, those came from the Fallout Red Rocket, but everything else is the Pokédex. I'm not a huge fan of this blue Squirtle thing here. I thought it would look good as like a TV Jumbotron, but not a huge fan of it after all. I may not keep that in the build. Turning the building around to the side, you can kind of see what it looks like back here. I'm not super big on how this looks. I'm probably going to change it in the end, but this is where it's at right now. And then our third building here, as I mentioned, this is pretty much fully Red Rocket truck stop. There might be a few pieces mixed in that aren't, but the road, all the tiles there. Actually, I guess some of these gray sidewalk pieces aren't, but pretty much everything else in the build is Red Rocket. That basically it's using all of these dark earth orange pieces. This all came from Red Rocket truck stop. All these red pieces, all of this came from the Red Rocket truck stop. Turning around to the side here, you can kind of see that it's a little more polished on the side. Not as polished, but a little bit better. And then I don't have any interior on it, as with any of the other buildings, other than the opening part of the recruiting station. And I have 2 spare Red Rockets that parts came from for this. Here's an alternate layout for the buildings. As I said, they can kind of be mixed and matched. The only issue I really run into is with the Pokédex building. The sides of that are not complete, and depending on if it's next to the recruiting station or not, that kind of shows if you look at it from the side. As you can kind of see there, there's some gaps, but I'm trying to fix that. As I said at the very beginning of the video, this is going to be a planned series, so if you're interested in following along with me building New Mombasa, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and comment down a suggestion of what building you'd like to see. I might just take you up on that suggestion. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace out.